Aiden, I think we're at a good place that we could probably go ahead and get started.
Oh, that sounds good. I was just messing around with my settings because of all of these interfaces, I'm probably least confident with Microsoft Teams, but it also sounds like I might not be alone. So let me just welcome everyone, students, parents, guardians, alumni. This is the second annual virtual alumni celebration. And you know, I think in these moments, we do what we can as best as we can. And I think this is another example of trying to pivot and be resilient amid everything that's going on. So glad to be here, and I'm honored to introduce myself. I'm Aiden Pirasta. I'm part of the class of 1997, and I'm honored to serve as the interim president of the alumni board. It turns out the math indicates this would be my 25th year since graduation. So we're pretty excited about that. As a matter of fact, we've got a bit of a virtual open house coming up tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to connecting with a lot of our friends. I mean, one of the neat things about our extended family at Wellington is a lot of these reunions rather, just kind of formalizing things that we often do just on our own. Most of my top 5 or 10 are all Wellington people when I think of like my daily interactions and just the quality of the people in life. So really excited to kind of join you and having a chance to call all of that out and lift up our experience. Now, just real quick on some logistics. Hopefully you have all received your, let's say JAG swag. That's right off the dome. So sorry if that's awful. Hopefully you received your JAG swag. So we've got the, let me see if we've got the alma mater printed out here as well with mission and values, always a great reference. We can hold on to a lovely pin and a coffee mug, a really nice, versatile coffee mug. And it's, I guess it's part of the duality of Wellington that in a coffee mug, they give you the recipes for the cocktails to sneak into it. I don't really know what that means. I want to see if we have any folks of influence or authority on this call and can really explain what that's all about. But, you know, I guess it's probably best that we've got some North Country charcuterie to keep our bellies full so we don't get in too much trouble with all the bartending that Wellington is suggesting that we do. So, but in fair play, as a lightweight, I've got the mocktail recipe right in front of me as well. With respect to the event and how we'd love to move forward together, we're gonna make this as interactive as possible. So I know that it was a little bit of chatter beforehand. Let us indeed get functional with that chat function in this Microsoft Teams interface for a variety of reasons, just because you might have some things to share when other people are sharing or presenting. And also, what we'd love to invite you to do right now is kind of share in this chat, open forum, you know, a person, a place, something that was really important to you or that was resonant during your time at Wellington that kind of embodies that. Even if you weren't a student, what may have been your, you know, kind of your third party perception and what those interfaces were like. I'm going to get in the chat and just kind of look at these and maybe voice one or two of them over. Let me see here. All right, we've got some stuff coming through, not all at once now. You know, I'm going to try and review this in due course. By the way, I'm just going to remark that these are all very handsome tiles. Some of you are annoying on the merit that you don't age at all, and I have substantially and visibly done so. Let's see here. Let's get back in this chat. What you got? Oh, we've got some guests coming in. Is there a reason the meeting chat is muted? Okay. Well, I think it's something that we should keep on the side. Rob Brisk and Brad Beal help me get over the hedonic or hedonic wall. Would you Which one is that, Jeff?
Rob's the Latin expert, so I defer to him if there's a pronunciation issue. Rob was,
we're going to go with, we'll go with hedonic, and I think it's Greek, but we're good, I think.
Fair enough.
Eudaimonic was too hard to spell.
That's right, but so much more fun to say.
Well, I think we should kind of keep that going, because part of the thread of this is sharing those memories, and those like always kind of spur on other memories and the kinds of stories that nights like this are for. We are going to do a lot of celebrating. We're going to do a lot of honoring, and rightly so. We've got incredible people that are representatives of the school, unwittingly and both with intention. And I think for students that are coming up from preschool all the way on, there are a growing number, almost an incalculable number of life options that people can choose because of what this school can provide, because of what we walk away from, and the competencies and the knowledge that we have. And I think the recipient of Distinguished Alumni Award, this year's recipient in particular, is a real, he epitomizes that example. I'm particularly grateful to kind of do the lead up before the introduction, because personally I was bracketed by two of the members of this family, and admired them greatly in all the ways that they're to be admired. And I'm just so honored to introduce Pete Kaser to do the introduction and the presentation for the Distinguished Alumni Award to the estimable Dr. Dan Kaser, class of 1999. So I'd love to hand that over to Pete.
Thank you so much. The Distinguished Alumni Award honors notable and significant achievements of an alum that is reflective of the Wellington mission and values, as well as having a significant impact on the lives of others, their profession, and their community, all of which Dan brings to his patients, while helping them achieve a dream that would otherwise not be possible. He does this with passion, commitment, love, and humility. Dan is not only an exemplary Wellington alum, but an amazing husband, father, son, brother, and friend to all. It is my great honor to introduce this year's Distinguished Alumni Award recipient, my brother, Dr. Daniel Kaser.
Peter, thank you. Thanks so much for the, thanks guys. Thanks so much for the warm welcome, Pete. Really, really thrilled to be with you here today with, some faces that I know, some others that I don't know. Just wanted to say thank you to Aiden for emceeing, and also for Carrie for organizing the event, and then to the Alumni Association and Dr. Turin for this really awesome recognition. And then finally to, thank you to my dear loving husband, Dana Karn, and also my dear family, Pete and Adam Kaser, both also Wellington alumni, I guess 97, 94? Maybe correct me if I'm wrong though, Pete.
96, 94.
96, 94, yep. So I was a rising freshman as Pete was like a senior, so I thought I was a big freshman on campus, which was always fun. But truly, what an awesome recognition. And I don't know if I'm necessarily deserving of the award. I was thinking to myself, maybe my dear friend Amy Johnston wasn't available today. Those of you who know Amy, who's also a class member of mine in the class of '99, was like also a physician. She's just superb in everything that she does, and we always were kind of paired at the hip, studying together, and doing things outside of class. So I do think that the career that has evolved of mine is certainly reflective and like a unique product of Wellington, frankly, in my 10 years there, in that my time at Wellington on the tennis and golf teams, and then a lot in the art studio, and then up on stage led by Chris Robbins and alongside Iden in some great musical theater. Just frankly gave me the creative space to be myself and to think differently and to innovate. And I'd like to think that I've continued that tradition forward. After just a word about myself for those that I haven't met. So after Wellington, I went into the honors program at Ohio State and ended up doing a bachelor's of science in microbiology and then a bachelor of arts in philosophy in 4 years. So I somehow managed to pack a couple degrees into 4 years. Pete, I think, got 1 degree in a longer amount of time. 7 years. I joke, my loving brother. And from Ohio State, I ended up going to Dartmouth Medical School for my medical degree, and then moved to Harvard for 7 years to do a residency in OBGYN and reproductive health, and then stayed there for fellowship in what's called reproductive endocrinology and infertility, where I subspecialized in kind of care of patients that need help in establishing their family. And so from there, I moved on to my first job at a group called Reproductive Medicine Associates of New Jersey. So moved to Philadelphia and worked across the river at RMA in New Jersey. It's really one of the largest kind of infertility practices in the country, and is part of like a network of fertility practices across the world. And there I took my passion not only for reproductive health and caring for patients, but also, I think a unique perspective in my field as a gay man, like the unique challenges, unique opportunities that are demanded of caring for LGBTQ patients. And so at RMA New Jersey, I helped really develop what's called a third-party reproduction program, which is basically any type of patient who needs help through like an egg donor or a sperm donor or a gestational surrogate in order to have a child. And so helped them develop a program there for a few years, and specifically helped kind of refine their care of LGBTQ patients. Systematic things in terms of looking critically at intake forms and how patients interact with front desk staff, financial counselors, and what forms, what consents that they're completing. Then also, staff education about how to, appropriately interact and care for gay patients. And then also looking kind of within our own medical record about kind of structural issues related to, potential biases that were kind of baked into our medical record that were kind of heteronormative. And all with the idea of trying to just increase inclusiveness. So from RMA in New Jersey, I ended up actually moving to San Francisco to help open a new RMA practice. It's called RMA of Northern California. So I'm currently in Palo Alto right now in Silicon Valley, but split my time between this office and a downtown San Francisco office seeing patients. And, I'd say probably 1 out of 5 patients that I see is either single or LGBTQ, needing some help with donor egg or donor sperm or surrogacy. So it's the great irony of this, in me thinking about today is that, I came out as a gay man in, I guess my first year of medical school, but I knew, that I was gay much before then, and had thoughts of it even at Wellington, and frankly I think it was not I felt like completely, in looking back, I should have felt completely open about it at my time at Wellington, and I would like to think that similar young men and women within the halls now would feel so. But I think it's probably more reflective of my own kind of young generation and like the time that I was at Wellington in the 90s. In that this has become more and more socially acceptable just even in the last 5 to 10 years. So but I think the great irony is that like I never came out when I was at Wellington, and here I am so gracious to be awarded for my work with the LGBTQ community. So just really am so grateful for the recognition, and look back so fondly on my time at Wellington. I've been back a couple times now, but honestly not as much as I'd like. So would look forward to that opportunity. And I hear next year's recognition might be back in person unless there's another wave of COVID or something else that comes down the line. So look forward to that for sure. So thanks again for this award. It truly is very, very meaningful and really appreciative.
Always so proud of you, Dan.
Thanks.
How do you do a standing ovation on Zoom?
Yeah, Dan, thank you for sharing that story. My name is Lindsey Smith, and we haven't met personally, but that's makes me feel like I need to go do more in life. So you're doing some really awesome stuff and serving a lot of people in some really special ways. So congratulations on this honor. So for those of you that don't know me, again, my name is Lindsey Smith, and I am the Director of Athletics at Wellington. I've served in this role for 9 years. 2 years ago, heading into the pandemic, I took over the role as Chief Operating Officer. So that's been a fun and exciting venture as well. I look forward to letting you all know if I still like the role post-COVID. But no, it's been a great adventure. I also coach our varsity girls soccer team. And I'm honored today to be presenting the award for our Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. I personally nominated this team that we're going to honor. And just so you know that just because I'm the Director of Athletics, my vote does not trump all. We do go through a voting process and a thorough nomination process, but I am honored to be recognizing the individuals we're going to talk about today. The Wellington Athletic Hall of Fame was established in 1997. It is an honor reserved for those athletes who have demonstrated exceptional athletic ability combined with outstanding sportsmanship and integrity. Tonight, we are honoring the boys golf team from the 2011-2012 school year, a team that really defined the success for future teams. It certainly raised the bar on what it meant to be a successful team within our community for future teams, programs, and generations to come. This team was led by, at the time, fourth-year head coach and former Wellington golf player Craig Mosier. Craig and I, over the years, he's no longer coaching for us, but developed a great friendship and continue to be good friends to this day. The Jags came into the season having won the Division III Boys Central District Championship 3 of the past 4 previous seasons. The Jaguars went to the state championship on the Scarlet Course at the Ohio State University Golf Club on October 14th and 15th of 2011 and won by 11 strokes. So for those of you that don't know golf, that's quite impressive. They had a 2-day score of 343, 331, 331 on the second day for a total of 674. And actually just very recently, so I was not at Wellington when this team won their state title, but in talking with Craig and the team, when they came in to record their video, I learned that the weather conditions were quite horrible on this day. So that was exciting and interesting to hear. And they were laughing that the scores may not be that impressive on paper, but given the conditions, they were actually quite impressive. They became the first OHSA team champions in Wellington history. So we had previous state champions, but not in an OHSA recognized sport. And they improved upon their previous best finish in the state tournament, which had been third place in 2010. Overall, the team had a record of 167 wins and 35 losses, 5 tournament wins, and a team average of 322. And I am honored to share that this team consisted of, as I mentioned, head coach Craig Mosier, Jonathan Taylor, Alex Schilling, Nick Main, Justin Perdue, Quentin Henricks, and Jack Roslovic. So let's give a virtual round of applause to this group. And as I mentioned a moment ago, I had the honor of interacting with this team a little bit. I guess it was probably 2 weeks ago now, and they recently came into Wellington and made an acceptance speech, and you will now watch that.
Hi, I'm Craig Mosier. I was the coach of the 2011 State Championship golf team here at Wellington. I'm here with Justin Perdue, John Taylor, and Jack Roslovic to thank everyone for our induction into the Athletics Hall of Fame.
Yep, and specifically, we wanted to thank Dr. Terwin, Mr. Brisk, and Lindsey for the opportunity to represent Wellington. It was very special to bring that state title back to the school.
We also wanted to thank all the family and friends for their support through our seasons and keeping us close as a team and really just being strong and being there for us.
That year in particular was one of my favorite years being part of a golf team. Not only because we did play a lot of really great golf, we also got along really well together. We had a lot of fun that year. We faced a lot of really good competition, and we always rose to the occasion and came together, played some really good golf to win some tournaments.
Yep, and going off of how fun of a season it was very special to see the mental fortitude it took to play in those harsh conditions, 20-mile-per-hour winds, and we rose to the top. So it was, again, very special to bring that title back to Wellington.
Not all of us could be here today, so I'd like to recognize Quentin Henricks, Nick Main, and Alex Schilling. Additionally, John and Quentin were the first Wellington golfers to win back-to-back All-State honors.
Just want to thank everyone again. The support that we've had from the Wellington family has been outstanding. We're really excited to be inducted into the Wellington Hall of Fame. Go Jags!
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. And we are grateful for Lindsey's leadership because there have been other great successes that in the future we will talk about in this kind of setting to come. So once again, we want to extend a sincere and very proud congratulations to Dr. Dan Kaser for his incredible work, and as well the 2011-2012 boys golf team led by Craig Mosier. You are among the many reasons that we're able to say that we're alumni of this wonderful place because of the kinds of things that you all are doing. And it is such a unique community. We've all gone on to college and beyond, and I think it's probably consensus that the Wellington community is one that does result in lifelong bonds, and reconnecting with classmates does become seamless. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, and we do get together to commemorate the achievements of our fellow alumni and our peers, and we do feel proud, but we also honor and we celebrate those dearly departed, and we feel grateful for their time in our lives and how we were enriched with their presence and with their love. I want to introduce a couple members of our class of 1990 who are going to together take us through a couple moments to honor one of our classmates from 1990, Debra Wilkinson Feczko, who did pass away last year. And it's now that I'd like to invite a couple of her classmates, my friend Ellen Sarin and my friend and my former coach in middle school lacrosse, John Dix, to share some comments and some of her memories. Thank you so much, guys.
Sure. I just need to make a correction. I am Ellen Sarin, but I am the class of 1989, and which I just took no problem. And I'm so happy to see some faces that, because of the sad passing of Deborah, though I have been able to reconnect with some of my fellow classmates of 1989, which I would not have probably, but should have done if that had not happened. So I really want to appreciate these. Actually, this is the, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is the picture I sent with the letter. And so this is the my senior softball team with Randy Saxer as the coach. And I decided I wanted to make sure that I reached out to every single one of these team members, because Deborah made such an impact on me, and I'm sure other Wellingtonians. And I thought, you know, the people that she played sports with, especially softball, should be made aware of what happened to her, and if they would like to contribute to the fund that we created. And Randy, Coach Saxer came up with the idea, and I was so grateful that Wellington backed the idea up, and they were very welcoming to it, and we're more than happy to help with that. So just to say a little bit about Deborah from my memory, and getting to reconnect with her. You know, she was an amazing softball player, and I played softball with her, and I cheered with her, and she was by far the most talented cheerleaders of the very few of us. I was probably the least, which is fine, but she always encouraged me, and she helped me practice my round-offs and cartwheels, and I could never do as much of amazing things as Deb did, but I really admired her. And it was really nice. I got to reconnect with her about 6.5 years ago. I decided to take a trip to Nashville, Tennessee, and I remembered from Facebook that she lived in Nashville. So I reached out to her then, and she was more than happy to visit with us, and she took my daughter and I around Nashville. And I remember her saying, "I can't believe you came all this way, and the weather is horrible, and usually Nashville is so wonderful." And it's not, but she still, you know, she took the time out of her schedule, and I got to meet two of her daughters, or her two daughters, I should say, her two daughters. And it was just, it was just like no time had passed. And I guess that's one of the great things about Wellington, is that it was just like, you know, I had made that relationship with her way back then, you know, and it was just like no time had passed, even though obviously quite a bit of time had passed, because this was like 6.5 years ago. And she just, you know, she just was her bubbly, happy self. And it was just great to get to reconnect with her. I'm gonna have to charge I didn't put my battery with it, but anyway, but again, it was wonderful to reconnect with her. And then this summer she came to Columbus, and when I found out, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have you over. And she was more than willing to come over, and I got to meet one of her daughters again. And it was just like no time had passed. And again, I hadn't seen her for, you know, since my time in Nashville. But I think that's just so important to recognize those friendships that you make, and you can go back to them, and those friends are there for you. Just like I see, I don't know, other, you know, Amy Teskey and I reconnected, which is just amazing, and Ann Douglas and Jenny Martin. I mean, I reconnected with all of the girls in this picture. Oh, I'm gonna have to get my charger. John, do you want to take?
Yeah, when Ellen kind of reached out to me and asked for my assistance in trying to come up with some ideas and something to do, to honor Deb. That was a very nice, and I was honored to do it. We bounced a lot of ideas off. We talked to a lot of people, and tried to work together to get things, something organized, and at the same time, not forget some of the others that had passed before her. And one of the things that Ellen came up with was asking people to message her with memories and whatnot, that she wanted to kind of put something together. And one of former Wellington students, Tommy Gallo, wrote and really, really perfect letter that really, and anybody that knows Tommy, he's very good with putting words together. But he wrote a letter that we wanted to make sure we shared with everybody. He wrote, "Some of you don't know me. I recall that Deb was the first person to say hello on the bus on my first day at Wellington. Being scared, changing schools, it was a simple hello, nothing spectacular, but it came with a smile. Sure meant a lot to me, coming from the most beautiful girl on the bus. She looked at me. Amazing the things that you remember. Thank you, Deb. You defined in a moment the power of simplicity of a smile and a hello. Money, power, politics don't change the world. Love and respect do. People do. And I don't know that anybody could have summed up Deb any better, because that was her. Didn't matter who you were instantly her friend. And it didn't matter how long it had been since she had talked to you. You were instantly her friend. And that by itself really sums up Deb. And in a lot of cases, especially in the early days, what Wellington was. We were so small that you were friends with everybody. You didn't have a choice. With somewhere between 17 and 20 people in a class, you got to know everybody. And I think that made the entire experience so much more powerful with being at Wellington, and enabled us to make friends and keep friendships afterwards, even if there had been a significant amount of time in between us communicating. You back online there, Ellen?
Yeah, sorry. I'm so sorry about that.
You're fine.
I do have a text from Randy. If you guys, Coach Randy Saxer, he said, if he didn't get on, he said, Deborah was a great leader, friend to her teammates, and had lots to prove all the time. She was so energetic and an extremely talented athlete. She always worked hard to be the best she could be. Above all, she was a very good student. One thing I remember about Deb was she always had to be perfect in everything she tried to do. Fond memories of a wonderful, courageous young lady who worked hard to be the best she could be. Rest in peace, Deborah. That's from Coach Randy Saxer. And if anybody else would like to share a memory, I know there's some other people from the class of 90 on here or 89, that would be fine. Welcoming. I don't know, maybe they did. Sorry about that.
No, John Dix held down the fort pretty well, Ellen, but I don't know if you can see it on your screen. And Coach, I don't want to put you on the spot if Ellen captured your thoughts in the statement she shared. Great, but if you wanted to voice anything over, we'd love to invite you to do that.
The only thing I can say, she's one of those kids that you come across once in a lifetime. And when you work with somebody like that, you're going to go to blows, you know, because you have your ideas and they have their ideas. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yep. Deborah always, by the end of the day, if her and I went at it on the softball field, at the end of the day, she would walk up and say to me, "It's okay, Randy, I got it now." That's what we got to remember about her. She had it, she got it, and she showed it on the field. And as a softball coach, you know, you really, and especially at Wellington, at that time, we had to play everyone. And she would be one of the kids who would walk up and say, "Let somebody else play. You know, I'm not having a good day." And I'm going, "No, without you, I don't think we're going to have time to let anybody else play. So, you know, you got to stay in there." But you know what? And that's before we had all state players and before we played in the tournament. The recognition she probably deserved, she didn't get because of that. But now's the time to give it to her, and we have. Thank you. I see Mr. and Mrs. Wilkinson too. I have not seen them in years.
Aww.
Hello, guys.
Well, yeah, would you, if anybody else would like to share anything? And I apologize, I didn't see you, Randy. I wouldn't have read your
you're
message.
Fine. You're fine. I'm old. Just push me in the corner. It's okay.
Ellen, Jim and Karen's mic is unmute, and I think they're ready to share their memories of their daughter. Karen, go ahead.
If you could get a little bit closer to the machine, but we can hear you a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Wonderfully.
Thank you kindly. Jim and I want to thank everyone who has telephoned, sent cards, letters, and emails regarding our daughter, Debra Wilkinson Feczko's passing. It meant a lot to us and warmed our hearts. Thank you to those who generously donated to the Wellington softball team in training fund in memory of Deborah. These donations will benefit future softball players for the spring training trips that were in need of assistance. Deborah loved and enjoyed the sport of softball, as well as playing soccer, cheerleading during basketball season, singing in the choir, and having so many lasting friendships throughout the years. We truly appreciate your kindness and endeavors in remembering Deborah. A special thank you to Ellen Sarin, Don Dix, former softball coach Randy Saxer, for their involvement in creating this softball fund in Deborah's memory. A special thank you to Carrie Kirkpatrick in communicating to us regarding alumni and donor relations and arrangements for tonight so that we could be a part of this virtual, visual, high text, because Jim and I are 80 and 85 years of age and we don't have this technology background. So thank you for being with us with your patience. We were overwhelmed and appreciated to receive a Wellington softball from the 2022 team with the captains' names of Lexi and Alexis on it, as well as Coach Burkhalter's name and the words of JAG softball is more than a team. Hopefully, Deborah's athletic caring and giving spirit will be remembered throughout the years with the ongoing donations. Jim and I are deeply grateful. Thank you to everyone. We are deeply humbled, and also Deborah would have been humbled too. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And I don't know if this was mentioned already. So John, did you cover how we have 27 alumni and peers that have donated over $3,000 to this fund, which, we're so grateful for all of you to have donated and share memories, and just, we had a few group chats of on Facebook of people remembering Deborah, and I don't, anybody that would like to share anything else, please feel free. But we're so grateful and appreciative of the connections and the reconnections, and I'm appreciative of all of that as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, John. I do want to take this moment, and we can't acknowledge everybody, unfortunately, but I like to take a moment of silence for our Wellington community of those who we've lost, whether they be friends, alumni, or community members. Let's just take a moment of silence for everybody. All right, well, we are going to transition a little bit of this evening. For those who I have not met, my name is Carrie Kirkpatrick, and I am the Alumni and Donor Relations Officer for Wellington. And although many of you may not have seen the progress on a daily basis, we have had the pleasure of watching the newest wing to the Wellington building from the earliest phases with the groundbreaking to the final beam being installed. We highly encourage you to kindly save the date for Founders Day, which is September 23rd, to come back to Wellington to see the new wing on the outside, see classmates, and connect with former faculty and staff. We will be having a large 40th anniversary celebration throughout the next school year, but Founders Day will be an extra special opportunity for our alumni. Now let's take a moment and see what Wellington has been up to.
Welcome, Wellington alumni and friends. I'm Michelle Burkhalter, and I've been associated with Wellington for about 15 years. I currently teach math and science at the middle school. I coach varsity softball, and I'm a proud Wellington parent. As you can see, we've changed a lot since the last time you've graced these halls. And thanks to the generous support of the Believing campaign, we're creating a 40,000 square foot dynamic learning space for our lifelong learners. In October, we were able to break ground, and the crew has made impressive progress to get us ready for the grand opening in the fall. Our youngest learners are going to be in the lower wing, where they'll have natural light. Each classroom will have outdoor access. My favorite part is that they're going to have an interactive kitchen in their common area. You and I can both go and cook. Upstairs will house the middle school, and the middle school will be designed where we incorporate collaboration, but also still has flexibility for individual learning experiences. My favorite part, the rooftop outdoor classroom. For science, it's going to give us a way to engage with nature, but also give us vitamin D and that free time to breathe.
We are so excited
Wellington is a place for dreamers, thinkers, and believers. And these dynamic new classrooms and flexible spaces will help inspire the amazing things our students do next. We can't wait to welcome you to this new space in the fall.
Stay up there, you ain't done yet.
We are so excited to share with you all the exciting things that are happening at Wellington. And as we close out the evening, I want to personally thank Aiden for being our MC, Duncan and James from North Country Charcuterie for helping with the packaging and some supplies of the alumni swag package. But we're going to try to start a new tradition and close tonight's evening with our alma mater. But don't worry, we won't make anybody leave. I was looking at Dan for being the Distinguished Alumni Award Winner, but we'll save it for next year's award winner. So you might have noticed in the swag package that we included the alma mater. So, but we'll let the kids take it this for this year.
I apologize. You might want sound.
Mm.
You're gonna sing the Alright, let's take a big breath in and a big breath out. And let's get ready to use our singing voices. Are we ready? Here we go, friends. Oh, Wellington, to thee we sing, forevermore thy praise will bring. No matter where on earth we roam, you're in our hearts, you are our home. Oh, Wellington, my heart is true to thy proud colors, white and blue. You are our pride, our will to gain, our hope and courage, Wellington, oh, Wellington. Great singing.
That was great.
Go Jaguars.
Well, that's it for the evening. We'll keep the room open for about 15 more minutes in case you want to connect with anybody following tonight's program. Thank you, everybody.